Hi, I'm Caitlin from Stitched Up, and today we're going to be making Christmas jumpers. We're going to take a jumper from your wardrobe and upcycle it into a festive jumper. For this tutorial, we're going to make a snowman out of felt that you can easily tack onto the jumper, which is going to make it really easy to put on and take off. To do all this, you'll need cardboard, a pencil, some paper scissors, some felt. I've got some bigger pieces for the main body and then some scraps for embellishment too. Some fabric scissors, embroidery thread, a hand sewing needle, some beads and buttons, and of course the jumper. So the first thing we're going to do is draw the templates for what we want on our jumpers. So I've got some cardboard here, or you could use paper, but the first thing I'm going to do is just lay it out onto my jumper, just like that. So I'm just doing this to check the size and scale of what I want to draw. So I want to find a bit of cardboard or paper that's going to fit the space that I want my image in. This bit of cardboard here is pretty much perfect size, so I can kind of use that as a canvas for how big to do my snowman. So I'm going to put this jumper aside and get my pencil and my ruler. So now I want to draw a snowman here, but I can't draw a perfect circle by hand. So I've had a rummage around Stitched Up HQ and found just some things that are circular that I can use as a guide. So I'm going to draw body first, my bigger hoop, and then I'm going to overlap the head and draw that in. So now I'm going to take my ruler and draw in the hat and the arms. So now I can cut this out with my paper scissors and I'll have my snowman template. So now we're going to cut out our templates out of felt. It's a good material to use for a project like this as it holds its shape well and it doesn't fray. I've got my snowman template here. I'm going to flip it because I'm going to be drawing onto the wrong side of the felt. So to keep the same image that I've drawn and not a mirror image, I'm going to flip it now so that when it's the right side, this side, I'll have the way around that I want it. So even though I only want the body to be in white for the final thing, I'm going to draw around the whole piece, and that means that I've got something to sew the other pieces onto. So I'm just going to draw around it in pencil. You don't want to go too heavily, just enough so you can see it. So now I've got my outline, I'm going to cut around it with my fabric scissors. I'm going to go very, just like on the edge, on the inside of the pencil line here, because even though this will be my back, I just don't want you to be able to see any pencil on the final thing. There you go, so now I've got the start of my snowman, and now we can do the same thing, but on black for the hat and the arms. So this time, I only need the hat and the arms, so I can just draw around them on the wrong side again. So you might not be able to see that on the video there, but I've got my outline here. If it's harder when you're doing a different colour, you can always use like felt tips or tailor's chalk or chalk pencil or anything, just as long as you can see it. And then obviously I've got a gap in my hat here. I'm just going to close that off. So now we have all the basic elements, we can attach them. We're going to do this with a decorative stitch called the blanket stitch. I'll show you how to do that in a sec, but first we just need to pin our pieces in place. So I'm going to start with the hat. And if you're finding that you have any of the backing showing, you can always just give it a little bit of a trim. So to do the blanket stitch, we're going to get our sewing needle and some thread and just tie a knot in the end. So because we're sewing two edges together, I'm just going to hide my knot in the middle. So you want to come down about 1/2 centimetre. And then for this first one, so I'm come out the back, I'm going to go back in the same place, just through the front though. So my needle's going to come up here. So I just made a loop. So I've made a loop like this, round the edge. And then I'm going to bring it over so that the top of my thread is on this left side of the loop, like so. And then I'm going to come in through the back. And so I want to do the same distance, about 1/2 centimetre away and 1/2 centimetre down. Pull that through, so that's gone through both sides. And keep pulling that through until I'm left with a loop like this. And when I've got a loop like that, I want to make sure that my needle is through that loop, so it's going to catch it. And then I can pull it taut, and then you'll see that we've got this nice edge at the top there. So I'll show you that again. We go about 1/2 centimetre across and 1/2 centimetre down. And then we're going to pull it through. You can keep your finger here to make sure you don't pull it too tight. Oh, like just like that. You can always pull it back. And then go through that. And then that's when you can tighten it. So we're going to carry this on all the way around. To turn the corner, I'm just going to do it on an angle. So I'm going to come out 1/2 centimetre down on the diagonal and then catch it there. And then carry on straight. So here you can see I'm getting onto, I'm not an edge on it anymore. So what I'm going to do, put my needle in and bring it back out where I want it, just here. And then I can still make my loop. Like that, and you can just carry it on that way. It's fine if you drop the loop because you can just pull out a little bit and go in like that. No one will ever know. And then as we come back on just to doing the edge, we do the same thing as before. So for my last one, I want to create the effect that it's carried on as well. So I just want to put it under that loop so you've got that. And then I can just bring it out and tie the knot. So now to attach the arms, I'm going to just do a whip stitch. So I'm going to pin them on first. So the simplest way, you could just close up an edge. And then carry on doing that all the way around. So there we go, my snowman is starting to have a little bit of character now, but there's more that we can do with the embellishment. I want to add some eyes, a nose, a mouth, and some buttons here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is stitch on the mouth. So I'm going to do that just by embroidery. So on the other side, because I don't want to mark too much on my nice side, I'm just going to draw in a smile. I'm going to do a back stitch for this one. So I'm going to go in on the wrong side so that my knot is hidden. That, and then I'm going to use this as a guide. So for the back stitch, you want to go about a grain of, grain of rice along, just on the line that you want to sew. So you can see we've got a stitch there. And then I'm going to do the same again. And you see we've got a gap here, so I want to fill in that gap. So I'm going to go back in this same hole here to give us a solid line. So just going to carry that on all the way. So now our snowman is happy. Let's give him a nose and some eyes. So for the eyes, I've got a bead box here and I'm just going to use a couple of beads. I think that'll do, and then we've just got some scrap felt for the nose. So you can kind of judge how big I want it to be, and I'm just going to hand draw a carrot shape. And cut that out. So I'm going to pin the nose on. So now for the beady eyes, we're going to make sure he doesn't look too drunk and just place them by eye. So I've got a slightly thinner thread. I'm going to mark it with pencil there. So I'm going to go, I know that's where the hole is. So then I can create a knot. Just so I've barely gone through there. You can't even see it from the other side, but it's just so that I can knot my thread, sorry. That one's going to work. And if you just go back in right in the spot you came out. Make sure it's lying flat, and then I'm just going to go through a couple more times just to keep it secure. And then just tie a knot in the back. So now we can attach our snowman to our jumper. So I've just placed it on the middle here. You can always check the sides. So I've got that in the middle there, and then height-wise, I'm just going to do that by eye, and I'm happy with it there. So we can just pin this in place, make sure that you're only getting the one side of your jumper. So you just need one hand inside, and just check that it's still nice and flat because you'll have moved around quite a lot inside. So for this jumper, this is my favourite jumper, so I want to wear it all year round, not just for Christmas. So I'm just going to tack on this snowman, which means it's really easy to take off afterwards. And keep wearing the jumper all year round. So that means that we just need some standard white thread. You want to match the colour of whatever you're putting on. There you go, I've got a knot there to start it. And then we're just going to do a running stitch all the way around the outside. So we're just going to come in and then go back into the fabric. Like this, and then back out, so you'll have one stitch, a gap, and then another stitch. And to make it easier so you don't have to keep putting your hand in and out, you can hold it on top and literally weave your needle in like that. Don't pull it too tight because then you will scrunch up your snowman, and you just want to carry that on all the way around the outside. Now for my arms, because I don't want them to be flapping about, and I also don't want the white to show. So because it's double layered, I can just go into the white. I'd use quite a lot of pins when you're doing this, just because you will have to move the jumper around quite a lot, and you don't want your character to shift. And then we have it, a lovely homemade Christmas jumper. Where you can keep both the jumper all year round, and also you can keep this when you take it off and put it with your Christmas decorations and just add it back onto your jumper every year, so you don't need to buy a new Christmas jumper or make a new Christmas jumper every year.